Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Sabrina D and I will be showing you a Mistress 9 look today. Now if you don't know who Mistress 9 is, she is a villain of Sailor Moon and I think one of the most aesthetically pleasing villains in Sailor Moon. I was going to go to Supernova this weekend. Supernova is a pop culture convention for those of you in the US. I don't know if you have it in the US. So I was going to go, but then I forgot to take time off work, so I figured I'd just film a tutorial of the makeup look I was going to do instead because I was so anticipating showing off this look. I was so excited. So this is the finished look, and it was so much fun to film. I don't want my channel to be strictly costume makeup. I would like to do, I'd like to mix it up, give you tips on everyday makeup and have a good variety. This is my first video and I thought I would just do something creative and show off what I can do. I will, if this does get a lot of positive reviews, I would be happy to do other villains on request. I am thinking of doing maybe a series on it, but that's just all future stuff. So for now, I've just come up with Mistress 9 and I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Always dab off any excess moisturizer before you begin. This gives the foundation a less cakey finish. Sorry guys, I was having a bit of a bad face day today, so please ignore the acne. Now I'm taking Revlon's Color Stay for oily skin in 150 Buff. I apply it first by dabbing the foundation all over the skin. The product on my forehead is a lot less considering you weren't really needing it with fringe I'm adding on at the end, but I figured I'd give it a light sweep just in case my fringe parts or the wind gets to it. Then, using a stippling brush, I lightly buff the product into the skin. You'll notice I've left the area around the eyes bare, and this is because I'm going to be adding more than one layer of concealer, so we really don't need the foundation under it. Next, I'm taking Maybelline's Age Rewind Concealer in medium, as well as a small stippling brush, and using the end of the brush, I'm scraping the product off the applicator, because in my opinion it puts way too much product onto the skin. Oh, and by the way, I haven't listed where I got any of my brushes, as they're all just cheap ones I found off eBay, but if there is interest, I'll leave link for them down below. I then start lightly sweeping the concealer under the eye, gently moving it into the inner corners. Makes a world of difference. Then taking Maybelline's Fit Me Concealer in 15, I'm making small strokes under the eye, one down the bridge of my nose, and a small dab or two on my chin. Using an angled stippling brush, I'm blending it all out. Notice how I'm blending in a motion that brings the product up towards the inner corners in order to really brighten the eyes and help towards giving a flawless anime complexion. Now I'm just locking this all in with Almost Smart Shade in Light and a powder brush by Nude. You can tell this product is a favourite of mine as the packaging is so worn. I just find it works perfectly for my skin and I've always preferred loose over pressed powder. I use the most product just under the eyes, but I always start from the bottom of the face and powder upwards. No clue why. Be sure again not to use too much powder on the forehead because we'll be putting a fringe there and there's really no point. Using Illamasqua's Basics palette and a thin, defined angled brush, I'm using a matte black shade to fill in my brows. I normally wouldn't fill my brows in with a black, but considering this isn't your everyday look, I'm making an exception. Also using this palette because the shade is not too pigmented, so the brows have a more natural feel. I didn't really do anything different to how I would normally fill in my brows, so there's not really much point in walking you through, but just do what you would naturally do. Make sure to angle the brows a little more than you would normally, in order to give that evil empress kind of look. I'm just cleaning it up and defining under the brow with the Argan Concealer from Models Prefer. Not the best concealer in the world, but I just use it for defining little things, and it does the job well enough. On to the more exciting stuff now, and we're going to be using shades from the Choose Chi Chi palette, which is a current big favourite of mine. I'm taking the matte light shade here with my fingers and applying this to the lid to create an even tone on the base. Then using a matte black shade, I'm taking this on my crease in a thin line using a small and precise lip brush. I'm going to be showing you 3 steps to getting the look, this being the first, that you will have to repeat a considerable number of times to build the colours and make them vivid to show up well on camera if people are going to be taking photos. Don't worry about being too exact on the first go, but just avoid applying product below the line that you've created. Then, taking a small eyeshadow brush and the bright, slightly glittery purple shade at the top, run this colour over and slightly above the line you've just made. The last step is getting a clean blending brush and diffusing the colour onto the brow bone. It doesn't really matter how high you blend, as we will have a bit more free will when it comes to makeup for villains. Now we're going to be going over these steps again, but this time, instead of using the eyeshadow brush, I'm just going to be taking the purple that we used before onto the slightly smaller shading brush. Apply it just above the black line in a sweeping motion, and then taking the cleaner blending brush, blend the colour up towards the brow bone. You're going to need to repeat this process, building the colours as you go until you achieve the right level of vivid colour you desire. I think I may have repeated these steps about 3 times, going over the black line, using the small shading brush with the colour, and then the larger shading brush to blend it out. How bright or dull you want to make it is up to you and can vary depending on your skin tone or the type of camera that you'll be using. For the liner, I use, and have always used, the Face of Australia liquid liner in black to create a large wing. To do this, I make a simple line that extends the lower lash line, and then another that begins at the inner corner and moves towards the original line, connecting the two and creating a triangle. Then just fill in the blank space. To clean up the look, I'm using Maybelline's Eye Studio and this very thin brush, while also flicking a small point on the very inner corner to create the illusion of a cat eye, which is a perfect addition to any anime-oriented look. For a little cleanup, I'm taking the Argan Concealer once again and a brush similar in shape to the previous but slightly wider, and placing the product on the areas that I want to look a little more neat and orderly. Onto the lower lash line now, and I'm sweeping the purple all under the eye. And again, with the Eye Studio, I'm just lining under the waterline, ending with a small flick of the brush on an angle almost parallel to the cat eye I created earlier. Then, taking a small smudging tool, I'm blending the purple and black together. There's a white eyeliner that came with the Chi Chi palette, and I'm just going to use that to fill in the small gap that was created in the inner corners and also run it along the waterline to make my eyes really pop. Sorry about the camera angles that have been shown, by the way. I'll learn to position it properly next time. This part is optional, but I took one of the sparkling white shades in the palette and just placed it all over the white eyeliner. It doesn't make much of a difference, but it's a nice little addition. Now I'm just going to apply fake lashes, and these are my favourite lashes at the moment. I've lost the packaging a while ago, but I'm pretty sure they're from Wasp. It's best to just go with feathery lashes for this look because the eyeshadow is considerably dramatic and you kind of want to balance it out. Now all that's left for the eyes is to curl and apply mascara. I'm just using Maybelline's Scandalize. For contouring, I'm keeping it simple, no blush or highlight, because I do want to keep the face looking quite bare and very matte, so all I'm going to do is accentuate the cheekbones with a fluffy angled brush. You want to look cold and colourless on the skin rather than warm and happy, because this really isn't the character for it. I'm taking the darker shade of the palette to really drive home the angular look of the face and look a tiny bit more gaunt. I'm also taking a clean angled brush to blend the two together. Lastly, on the contour, I'm just slimming down my nose a bit. Anime noses are quite tiny. For the lips, all you really need is a nice deep purple shade to match the eyes. So I'm using both Chi Chi's purple lip stain and an old plum lipstick I was given as a gift, building those on top of each other. Unfortunately, I had to change cameras, and this one doesn't have a screen that rotates and shows me what on earth I'm doing, so I can assure you it's nothing that requires much skill. All you really need to do is apply your lipstick as you normally would. To finish off this look, all you need to do is draw a nice black star on the forehead. I found this just completed the look and really made the character. Every time my fringe parted, you could see the star poking out and just worked so well. I just used Maybelline's Eye Studio and a lip brush, drawing the outline first and then colouring it in. And then I set it with a black eyeshadow so it didn't smudge. All that's really left to do is brush your hair and put on the fringe and you're ready to go. I hope this tutorial was interesting, and for all those going to Supernova or a similar convention, have a great time, and I swear to God I will go next year. Thanks for watching. Bye.